Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Darth Vicious, and this is my first episode of Brotherhood of the Force, and this is what we learned from Star Wars Celebration, which this year was in London, England. If you guys have any questions, of course, you can hit me up on my Twitter feed. That is at Alan216 Dempsey. Also, while I'm thinking about it, if you're here, you got the chat room. I'll be checking that out also. I mostly be checking my Twitter account. So with that in mind, I'm going to get right into it. First of all, my overall thoughts from watching the live streams on Star Wars' YouTube channel. I was kind of mixed. There were some things that I really enjoyed, and there were some things that I didn't find all that interesting or important. And there was some very, very, very disappointing aspects to it. Most notably, not getting to see the feature film panel, which irked the fuck out of me. You know, with every Star Wars movie coming out every year, or a new Star Wars movie coming out every year, it would have been nice to get some information on, of course, Episode 8, Han Solo, Episode 9, what have you. I mean, I realized, yeah, Rogue One's coming out this year, and that was the primary focus as far as the feature films go. But also, the other thing that disappointed me was they didn't have any updates to the canon as far as novels and comic books and whatnot, other than prequel to the movie Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and also the Thrawn novel, the new Thrawn novel, being written by Timothy Zahn. Now, things that did interest me were the Ahsoka Tano panel. Ahsoka, of course, one of my favorite characters from the Clone Wars and Rebels. So I did watch that, and I did take notes on it. Another one was the ILM Star Wars Archaeology panel. I actually watched that, and I found that very, very, very interesting. I watched the Rogue One, a Star Wars story panel. And I got the Rebels panel. So, having said that, let's get down to it. From the Ahsoka Tano panel, we learned that there were some story arcs from Star Wars The Clone Wars, which remained unused due to seasons ending, as well as the series ending so rapidly. How do I feel about that? I feel that is very interesting, and they could be recycled for Star Wars Rebels if they decide to go that route. Personal opinion. Also, they could go in the Ahsoka Tano novel, which is coming out in October. I think that's probably more than likely how they're going to go about it. After she left the Jedi Order, after I believe it was Season 5 of Star Wars The Clone Wars, she met somebody in the Undercity of Coruscant. I forgot the guy's name, but she did have a love interest and crush after she left the Jedi Order. How do I feel about that? Well, I don't know. We've seen what happens when Jedi or former Jedi have love interests. Anakin Skywalker turned to the dark side. because he married a Republic senator and he wanted to save her from death. Ahsoka so far remains on the light side path. Then again, we don't know how long, excuse me, how long that little fling lasted. The Ahsoka Tano novel, which is coming in October, or coming out in October, is going to reference the unused story arcs. This, according to Dave Filoni, or at least that's how I gathered it. So that goes to my first point about how the story arcs should be used. They could, like I said, they could be recycled for Rebels in a different way. And of course, excuse me again, guys. Again, the Ahsoka Tano novel coming out in October should, as far as Dave Filoni worded it, and as far as I gathered, reference the unused story arcs. Dave Filoni confirmed that Ahsoka lived after Twilight of the Apprentice, which I'm happy. Ahsoka, like I said, was quickly becoming a favorite of mine, and I would love to see her used in a live action movie, perhaps as a spin off within the original trilogy. That would be interesting to see where she ended up post the Death Star. Oh my god, excuse me. Uh, and Dave Filoni did say that Ahsoka may have some appearances in season 3 of Rebels. As to what regard, I do not know. I'm interested to find out if that actually does happen. And if it does, what will she do? Will she be like a Yoda type character where she would show up in Force visions during meditations, or would she be leading the team from a distant position, or would she be reaching out to Ezra through the Force to train him? Because Ezra, from what I saw, has become a hell of a lot more capable fighter with a hell of a lot more strength in the Force. But we'll get to Ezra when we get to the Rebels panel. Having said that, overall, the Ahsoka Tano panel was very, very, very interesting. I enjoyed watching it, and I enjoyed seeing Ashley Eckstein at Star Wars Celebration. I'm hoping that she will be back for Rebel Season 3. Would be so awesome. If you have any questions, before I move on to the ILM SW Archaeology panel, hit me up in the chat room. Leave your questions there, or hit me up on Twitter at Alan216 Dempsey. I will get you those questions. Use the hashtag AskDarthVicious. And I have my notifications open, so we'll go with that. Or actually, you know what? I will get to those questions as I go. How's that? Because I really want to move to the next topic. And that is, of course, the ILMSW archaeology panel. Excuse me. Okay, so as far as the ILM-SW Anarchy panel, the ILM team did confirm that Rogue One: A Star Wars Story will be using digital recreations of all the original parts from Star Wars Episode 4 and New Hope models to make the Star Destroyers, as well as every other vehicle in Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, to make them look authentic. And I have mixed feelings about that. On the plus side, it saves a lot of work time to get down to recording. By having digital recreations, you can easily just put the stuff together by taking the pieces and then digitally mapping them out. Also, it makes it easier to duplicate each individual item so that you can record more of one thing than if you had to make the models by hand. 3, it makes for the ease of filming budgets by having digital recreations rather than hand-built models. On the negative side, yes, they look realistic, but there's also the chance of too much over-reliance on CGI. Also, with that being said, another con of doing that is that you run the risk of too much digital data in your film. I am assuming that that's a thing. I don't know much about the film industry. I'm just a fan. And of course, the scaling. Once you make a digital model, it is generally very hard to rescale, I think. I've never done it, just guessing. But overall, as long as it looks good, and from what the trailer shows, it looks good, I don't think anybody will be able to tell. Stormtrooper helmets, from what I saw, are going to be remakes of the original Stormtrooper helmets from the original trilogy, but with higher quality materials. I'm guessing that's how they meant it. I know they're going to be a hell of a lot whiter. I saw that much. And how do I feel about that? Personally, I like it. I mean, we all know the original Stormtroopers are still the best Stormtroopers ever. Even if they couldn't hit worth shit with their blasters. Don't get me wrong, I like the First Order Stormtrooper uniforms. Those are, the uniforms. They look awesome. But, having said that, I'm an old school fan. Old school is the original trilogy Stormtroopers. Now, another interesting fact that I didn't know, and Star Wars Episode 1 gets so much shit for being considered a digital movie, but the archaeology panel confirmed that Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, had the most miniature models used of any film ever. Star Wars or otherwise. Ever. And, prequels get a lot of hate because of the over-reliance on CGI. They get hate for Jar Jar Binks. They get hate for the midichlorians. They get hate for the politics, and they get hate on for the rest of the Gungans. Personally, the only thing I see in that list that is actually legit, and I'll say this: the acting and the writing were not very good. The acting seemed wooden. The writing was a little clunky. Jar Jar Binks was a piece of shit. But everything else in the prequels just really didn't bother me. So, with that in mind, my overall feelings on the Star Wars archaeology panel. It was interesting as a Star Wars fan. I had never known that before. And I really liked how they showed how they do things behind the scenes. Really was an interesting computer program that they showed how they make digital copies of the parts of models from the past, and how they actually made miniatures. That was cool. Other than that, I actually enjoyed that statement or that segment of Star Wars Celebration from Friday. So, having said that, let's move on to Rogue One. I'm checking my Twitter to see if I get any questions. And overall, Rogue One. What did I think about it? I'll start with the footage, because the footage kind of threw me off. When they said they were showing footage, I thought they were going to be showing a new story teaser, not behind the scenes stuff. Don't get me wrong. Excuse me. Behind the scenes stuff was awesome. Getting to see how the movie was made and some new shots that were filmed was really cool. But I kind of wanted to see some of that footage finished off in the form of a story trailer. That would have been awesome. Simple reason being that I'm just interested to see Darth Vader. I'm interested to see some new shots that weren't in the original teaser. And I'm interested to hear the tone in the music, as well as see some of the reshoots. If those are even done yet, I don't know. As far as the characters go, Jyn Erso, the main protagonist, knows her history and knows what's at stake. And she is willing to put her checkered past behind her to protect the galaxy and complete a mission for the greater good. Unlike Rey, who, as far as she knows, her family's supposed to meet her on Jakku. She doesn't know anything other than that. Luke, of course, farm boy who can't escape the life of a farm boy until after Owen and Barura killed, and Leia, of course, an Imperial senator who is also a rebel leader. Cassian Andor. He is played by Diego Luna. Is intelligence officer for the Rebel Alliance, and from what I gathered, had a hand in reprogramming K2SO, which is the security droid. It's a CGI character voiced by Alan Tudyk. Bodhi Rook is a former Imperial pilot who questioned what it is he was serving with the Empire, and then of course defected to become the pilot and technician for the Rebel cell, stealing the Death Star plans. Galen Merrick. Now I'm going into the Star Wars The Force Unleashed. My fault. Galen Erso is a scientist who is a person of interest for both the Empire and the Rebel Alliance. He has knowledge of a doomsday weapon, and presumably that means he actually worked on the Death Star. Baze Malbus, played by Zhang Wen, is an assassin with heavy weapons experience. He is the best friend of Donnie Yen's character, Chirrut Imwe, the blind guy who believes that all life is bound by the Force, and he is a very, very, very deeply spiritual individual and uses that spirituality to fight through his blindness. Now, from what I learned in the Rogue One panel, they aren't changing the tone of the movie, so that basically confirms to me that all these rumors of them reshooting 40 to 50% of the movie is completely wrong and completely false. I know you could probably say that it was confirmed well before Celebration that was going to be the case, but to hear it from Disney and Lucasfilm executives just made it that much more real to me. Now, with that in mind, the music. They didn't say anything about the soundtrack, so I'm assuming that's going to be released the same day as the movie is in theaters, like they did with The Force Awakens. I could be wrong on that. And I'm actually planning on seeing the movie in theaters at least 3 times, like I did The Force Awakens. And on a personal note, I will be doing a spoiler-free and a spoiler review of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, after I see the movies. There is going to be a prequel novel to it called Catalyst Rogue One. Excuse me, again. I'm probably going to cut this episode short because I'm a little on the side, if you can tell. But, where was I? Oh, yeah, the book. I'm going to be reading that. And saying that, I'm going to move on to the Rebels panel. Is the last bit of any interest to me because, well, I'm not really into the games so much. I mean, I play Star Wars The Old Republic, but I don't have any of the other games. And speaking of Star Wars: The Old Republic, they are having another expansion pack to it, so I'm liking that. Uh, yeah, granted, I haven't even gotten through the Knights of the Fallen Empire storyline, but whatever. Anyway, as far as Rebels, I loved the trailer for season 3, and oh my god, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I just have to say those 3 words: Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, as I said from the Ahsoka panel, Dave Filoni confirmed that Ahsoka may return in some fashion in Rebel Season 3. He confirmed that it was very hard for him to kill Ahsoka off, since she is one of his favorite characters, if not his favorite. Of course, Kanan is still blind. He is rocking out a new look, full beard like mine. The hair is still very much the same. The tied back long hair, but now he's got a mask over his face that has a wolf eye design above it. So that looked cool. I'm liking the new look for Kanan. Both Sabine and Ezra have new hairstyles as well. Sabine's is longer, has streaks of white in it, purple and blue, with some orange left in. Ezra's is more of a military style crop top, so I like those. A lot of people don't. I am personally a fan. I can't wait to see if those looks even evolve over the season. Excuse me. According to the actress who plays Sabine, we'll be learning more about Sabine's past and getting to know Sabine on a much deeper level. I cannot remember her name off the top of my head. Let me look that up real quick. Shouldn't take but a minute. What is her name? Oh yeah, Taya Sarkar. Also, from what I noticed, and a lot of people confirm this, was the look of the character seems to be changing to fit in line with Rogue One, A New Hope. So that is gonna look excellent, I guess. I haven't really seen much other than the trailer. Of course, Darth Maul is still trying to tug Ezra under his wing as his apprentice by getting rid of Kanan. In fact, there's a scene in the trailer for Rebels Season 3 where he tries to send Kanan out into space. Grand Admiral Thrawn, like I said, is now canon and will appear in Star Wars Rebels Season 3. He will be voiced by Lars Mikkelsen, who is the older brother of Matt Mikkelsen, who is playing Galen Erso in Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. Again, I have no complaints there. I'm really looking forward to seeing Thrawn in all his glory. At first, when Disney and Lucasfilm decanonized the Thrawn trilogy, I was a little bit pissed. But what can I do? I'm not in control down there. But I'm glad they brought Thrawn back. Of course, the author who created the character will be writing a new Thrawn novel, which I plan on reading. It's coming out around my birthday next year in April. So, having said that, I really have nothing else. If you guys have any questions and you're watching, of course, hit me up on Twitter. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Otherwise, I'll be back next week for another episode. I'll give you guys a couple minutes and I'll just tell you I've got 3 canon novel reviews up on my channel now. I have Aftermath, Life Debt. I have oh yeah, Battlefront Twilight Company and Tarkin. On my Aftermath Life Debt review, I have a link back to my Aftermath review on my old channel, which is DJ Toxic Darkness. So make sure to check out those reviews. What else? I have some other stuff planned. Like I said, I'll be doing another one of these podcasts here next Tuesday, same time. I'll probably have more shit to cover. Probably just random stuff. Other than that, tonight on my wrestling channel, if you guys are wrestling fans, of course, check out Sling Blade Productions. I'm going to be doing a live rant and review of the WWE Draft. So, having said that, I'm going to get the hell out of here. I'm going to go relax for a little while. Until later tonight on Sling Blade Productions, YouTube, may the force be with you.